Yo, what's happening, people? It's your boy Michael Griggs, and welcome back to Griggs Talks, where we talk all things sports. And we're back for another episode of European Night Recap. I missed last match day because I did not watch all the games. I wasn't even able to catch highlights of them, so they don't want to do content on matches I didn't really watch, or at least watch the highlights of them, so I couldn't really have any major takeaways. So didn't do it, but we're back for this one as I was able to keep in touch with all the games, or at least watch highlights, so I could kind of have some takeaways to talk about. My bad. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. We've done good numbers on the last 3-4 videos, which is always good. We're up to 227 subscribers. Goal is 300 by Christmas, which is about 25, 26 days. So that's the goal, and I plan to achieve that because I will be producing a lot more content because football season has really kind of started now because international break is over, so we don't have to worry about that. It's just football every single day for like the next 2 months in a sense until at least March. So, yeah. So today, let's talk about all the games in match day 5, except United Galatasaray because I did a match reaction for that yesterday, which you guys should go check out. About 13 minutes long, live raw reaction. Typically, when I do my match reactions, especially after United loss, I'd wait about an hour and a half because my head's hot, different planet. But yesterday, that performance, it needed a live raw reaction. It didn't deserve for me to have like a calm head loss. It needed more than that. I had to give my live raw opinion of the match. So make sure you guys go check that out. But let's talk about the other games. We're gonna start with Tuesday's matches. I'm gonna start with Group E: Lazio, Celtic, Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid. I'll start with Lazio Celtic because I think that match was at 12:45. So Lazio beat Celtic 2-0. Lazio clinched the spot in the round of 16. As of right now, they're second place, but they're only 1 point Atletico Madrid, and those two teams play each other in match day 6. So that match will be very important as they'll have all the implications on the line. But Lazio 2-0. Immobile to a brace, 2 goals past the 80th minute. I think 82nd and 86th minute, he scored a goal. Good finishes. Jude Immobile stepped up, and Lazio qualified past the group. Something I didn't expect. If you told me, I think I did like a predictions on I did a tweet predicting about who's gonna progress past the group stages. I had Feyenoord progressing past Lazio, and about around match day 3, that's what it looked like. But Lazio will beat Feyenoord in Italy in match day 4, and then obviously we'll talk about Feyenoord's result against Atletico in a little bit. Lazio got another 3 points today. They had the big result in Scotland as well with, I think, the Pedro winner. And, of course, that draw in the first match day where Provedel, the goalkeeper, scored a game-tying goal in the 90th minute against Atleti. So they've been pesky with their wins. Obviously, they're not the most convincing performances from Lazio. I think, yes, Tuesday they were really convincing. Celtic had about 1-2 real half chances. Other than that, they didn't have anything to offer to the game, while Lazio were pretty decent. They created the most out of the opportunities with a better team. And big up to Maurizio Sarri for actually getting his team past UCL group stages. I didn't expect that. They've been poor to start in the league. A couple injuries. Players not really been into the best form. Not the strongest summer window after losing Milinkovic-Savic to Saudi Arabia. But they got the job done. Immobile. And, man, Captain Chiro, even though I don't think he's a captain, but he always steps up for the club when they need him most. And he's a proven reliable goal scorer. And he even did it off the bench because Tati Castellanos started this match. Immobile came off the bench, which I'll say, check real quick, 61st minute. So 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes that he played, contributed 2 goals. And hey, when I look at their lineup right now, I have it on my phone, so I'm looking down. It was a strong starting 11 from Lazio, obviously. Bar Immobile, Anderson on the wings, Isaacson, who is a young kid from Denmark that they have, Nico Rovella, Guendouzi, Alberto midfield, obviously. So it was strong in that sense. Kamada came off the bench about the last 10 minutes. The only injuries that they really had was Romagnoli and Zaccagni. But, man, they got the job done. Look at the stats real quick. They created 22 shots, 3 big chances. It was complete domination in terms of that. So big up to Lazio, man. Like I said, last match day, all to 5-4 against Atleti, which leads to the other match, Atletico Feyenoord in Netherlands. Feyenoord 1, Atletico 3. Big result for Atletico, obviously. For Feyenoord, that meant that they're eliminated from the group stage, which I did not expect. I honestly thought they were going to go past the groups. Obviously, they were the pot 1 team in this group because they won the Dutch League last year. And they did not replicate in Champions League, even though I think they probably play the best football out of all the teams in this group. Doesn't matter, though. In Champions League, it's not about who plays the best football. It's about who wins the most matches, who gets the most points, who's the most resilient, who's the smartest, all that kind of stuff, which we're going to talk about in another group coming up later. But, yeah, man, Feyenoord just didn't have it on that night. Look at their lineup. Very iffy in the sense. Really weren't missing players, but Jimenez up top scored an own goal. They scored 2 own goals today, honestly, Tuesday. Gertrude, the other player. So 2 good players in Jimenez and Gertrude conceding own goals. not what you want. Wyfer scored a goal though. He's a good player. But yeah, man, they just didn't have the night. Atletico are obviously a tough team to beat. Simeone in Champions League, we all know what it's about. Bar Real Madrid, there's not really a team that has Diego Simeone's number in the UCL. Maybe you could argue Man City in the last couple of years, but yeah, man, they got the job done. The only goal scored for Madrid that wasn't from Feyenoord was Hermoso. He scored a nice goal, and it was technically the winner because they won 3-1. So second goal. He made it 2-0. And yeah, man, job done. Riquelme won man of the match. He was really solid, the left back. He had a really good match. And Atletico, for me, when I look at the teams in this UCL, obviously you have your big dogs in Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. But when you look past those three teams, obviously you have Inter, Arsenal, Atletico. I think Atletico deserves to be in that kind of like top 5 with chances of winning UCL because I look at the team. They're doing really well in La Liga. I think they're maybe a couple points off the top. They have a game in hand. They obviously play Barcelona this weekend, so that'd be a big – if they win that match, that puts them like I think 5 points clear of Barcelona with the game in hand still. And they're closing the gap on Girona and Real Madrid. And yeah, man, Simeone, we all know what he's about in Champions League. He's going to make it. It's very tough to beat Atletico. They're defensively solid. In the attack, yeah, Morata and Griezmann. And Morata in Champions League has proven that he can come up with a reliable goal. Maybe that was 8 years ago. But even not even then, against Liverpool 2020, Anfield, clutch goal. So Morata has that in him. Griezmann hasn't been in the form of his life. He's had a fantastic 2023, and I'm sure he hopes to replicate it in 2024. And yeah, man, they're just a very, very solid team. I'm not going to say they're as good as the past athletic teams. I think those athletic teams had much more quality, especially in midfield and defense. But going forward, they have quality. Simeone has revolutionized his team. It's a much different team. They're not as like defensively strong as they used to be, but I think they're a little bit more fluid in attack. And yeah, man, they just look good. They have a decent squad. They're pretty deep, and maybe they sign someone in January. And they have options, man. So I think they're gonna be a very tough team to beat. If I'm any team, obviously, if Atleti win the group, I don't know. We're gonna talk. I don't know what the second place teams are gonna be, but let's say somehow Atleti finish second, right? And Lazio win the group. If I'm a Man City, I don't want to see Atletico. I think Man City would obviously beat them, but I wouldn't want to see them round of 16. Real Madrid can't play them, obviously. Bayern Munich would not want to see Atletico Madrid round of 16, in my opinion. So, just definitely not a team you want to see. Arsenal would not want to see them. So, I think Atletico, if I'm another big team, I would hope that Atletico win the group so you kind of don't have to see them till at least quarterfinals. So, yeah, that group, like I said, Atletico are top right now, 11 points. Lazio are second with 10. Those two play each other in match day 6 in Madrid. Winner takes the group. Atleti draw, they take the group. That's pretty much it. Now we're going to move on to Group A, C, D, E, F. Group F. Obviously, you know what? I'm going to leave that group last. We'll go to Group G. City, Leipzig, Young Boys, and Red Star Belgrade. This group is already locked up in terms of the top two. Last match day, City and Leipzig have finished first and second. And this match day was pretty much if Leipzig win, they can kind of make it difficult for City in terms of the last match day. If City drop points again, then Leipzig have the opportunity. But didn't happen. Even though Leipzig did go up 2-0. Now we're going to recap the game. I'm going to have some takeaways, though. First, Leipzig. Luis Openda, one of the signings of the summer. When you look at bargains in terms of money. I think he signed for about $43 million, which is about 33 million pounds, I believe. He signed from RC Lens, who also finished, I think, second in Ligue 1 last year. And Openda was fantastic today, Tuesday. He scored 2 goals, a brace. Both kind of on the transition. He bullied Akanji for the first goal. Akanji was in no man's land. And for the second goal, he absolutely skinned Diaz and even kind of caught Guardiola out of position. Nice near post finish, bottom left corner. I love those kind of finishes. The Mbappe special, as I like to call it. And Openda did it really well. Just a fantastic young player. I think Leipzig had fantastic summer business. Lukeba, the left center back, is also really decent. Xavi Simons, if you guys know me, you know how much I like to wax lyrical about Xavi Simons. Fantastic young player. You know, he went off with the injury, but he's really solid. You have Dani Olmo, who's always injured, though. A couple other young players, but I think Leipzig are a solid team. But they went up 2-0 into halftime, but then Manchester City, proved their quality once again in the second half. Erling Haaland, we all know how much he loves the Champions League. I think he said it before, he sleeps with his the Champions League match ball when he scores. Something like that. This guy's a robot. So he scored a goal, Foden scored a goal, and Alvarez scored the winner. For City, though, obviously, they've dominated. They won all the games in the group, and they're going to end up winning all the games in the group. But in a sense, they've also kind of showed a little bit. They haven't shown to be as defensively solid as I expected them to be. That also pertains to the Premier League. they look cooking in the transition, especially in that first half. And even in the second half, Fabio Carvalho scored an offside goal that could have been the winner. And it was slightly offside. So I think City are really defensively weak. I expect them to fix that up going into the knockout stages in 2024. I think they'll be much more defensively resilient. John Stones may be back. Kevin De Bruyne might help in terms of the attack. And if they're much better in attack, that might lead to more defensive solidity, because sometimes you have to defend from the front, as some coaches like to say. So I think they will be much better. But as of right now, I would understand why there are some concerns. But as we see with Man City, this is only the beginning of the season for them. Their season doesn't start until about January, February. They've kind of hit that stage where they are under Pep, where they can struggle in the beginning, but that doesn't matter because they'll catch up to the other teams. And by come March, April, they're the best team in the world. So they win that kind of respect in a sense. So Man City, 3-2, good win. Leipzig, I mean, they could have tried to fall, obviously, for maybe make it a little difficult for City going into match day 6, kind of put a little pressure on them. What if City finish second and they get another big team in round 16? But City ended up handling business. They topped the group. Leipzig already second. So last match day in this group actually means nothing because Red Star versus Young Boys ended in a 2-0 Young Boys win, which means Young Boys finished third and they go to Europa League. So nothing to play for in this group for the last match day. But as for City, they, like I said, just defensively, question marks. Maybe they could go sign another defender in the winter. I don't know, but maybe I think it's that midfielder. I think it's that second midfielder. That's a big issue with City. Obviously, you have your center backs, that they have the top quality center backs, but it's been a Kanji lately next to kind of Rodri in that pivot. Need someone stronger. Obviously, Gundogan's not there anymore. Usually, John Stones goes into that spot where John Stones is injured. He's on the bench, but he's not 100% match fit. I think it's that spot that's kind of weakening City's defense. That's something that they have to think about. And because they didn't really sign a midfielder that could kind of play there as well. I think Mateo Kovacic, kind of not those kind of players for that position. So we'll see. But I think City are still good. I think Leipzig, in terms of what maybe they can cause issues in the next round, attacking wise, they could cause any team in the world issues as we just saw. I think will depend on the counterattack. Xavi Simons, if Daniel was back by then, Fabio Carvalho has some quality in him, man. Yusuf Poulsen, you never know. The guy can pop up with the goal. Emil Forsberg has a decent pass on him. You have Sesko off the bench. He's a really good young attacker, young forward. So they have some quality, man. Obviously, Turbo Timo is injured as well. He might get sold in January, so he might not be available. But I think Leipzig, defensively, they just have so many issues defensively that it'll cost them, especially if they go up against a team that has a really solid attack, and that could be an issue. But if they go up against a team that's struggling attacking-wise, Leipzig can hurt them. So it all depends matchup-wise what can happen. Maybe against a PSG, I think Leipzig can cause some issues. But, yeah. As for Young Boys, Red Star, Young Boys took the chances. On goal in the 8th minute, and then Boom scored in the 29th minute. That game was pretty much winner goes to Europa, and Young Boys did it. They go to Europa. Let's see what they do over there. But as for Red Star, they had a lot of chances based on the highlights I saw, but weren't able to take them. And they should be disappointed with their campaign because they could have they were aiming for third. Obviously, when you have Leipzig and City in your group, it might be tough to finish second. At least try to finish third, stay in Europa, and maybe cause some damage over there. But they weren't able to do that. So really disappointing campaign. But this campaign was pretty much over for them when they didn't win in Serbia against Young Boys. That was pretty much it. Next up, we have Group H, which is Shakhtar, Royal Antwerp, Barcelona, and FC Porto. Barcelona 2, Porto 1. Porto scored first under Pepe, the winger, not the center back. Who also had Pepe, the winger, also had another big chance in the first half that he didn't convert. And Porto were the better team in the first half, but Barcelona equalized a couple of minutes after Porto scored through Joao Cancelo masterclass goal. Fantastic football from Cancelo, big goal for the club. Barcelona have been struggling as of lately, in my opinion. Obviously, they're fourth in La Liga right now after winning La Liga last year. Not the spot they want to be. They've had a couple injuries, though. Pedri, Gavi towards ACL, so he's out for the year now. Lewa's been iffy up and down. Lost Dembele, who I think was a crucial part of Xavi's system, especially in attack. You have the introduction of Lamine Yamal. He'll have the inconsistencies as any 16-year-old would have in first-team football. Defensively, Araujo, Koundé, not as much. Midfield, he also has the young injury. No more Sergio Busquets there. So they've gone through a lot of up and downs. Marc-Andre ter Stegen's injured right now. So it hasn't been an easy ride for Xavi in a sense. But they topped the group. They qualified past UCL group stages for the first time since 2020, which was, I think, the last year Lionel Messi. So congrats to them for qualifying past the UCL group stages for the first time since Lionel Messi left Barcelona. Um, they needed to get past this group. If they didn't get past this group, then that's absolutely a joke, and Javi should have been fired on the spot. But they got past the group. But in my opinion, when I look at all the group winners, for me, they might be the weakest. I know people be like, "What? What are you saying?" It's Barcelona, and they have a lot of quality. But I look at them attacking wise. I think they're really weak attacking wise. I don't think they have. I think they lack a lot of quality. I think level has fallen off a cliff. I think Rafinha is very, very inconsistent. Lamine Yamal is still only 16. Joao Felix, who scored the winner today, that was his first goal since September. So he's inconsistent as they come. We all know about that. We all know that about Joao Felix. If there's one word to describe Joao Felix, it's inconsistent. So I think they lack that attacking wise. Obviously, come knockout stages, they will have a new striker in Vitor Roque, who joins them from Brazil in January. Maybe he can provide that spark. He's a good young striker. But I just think they lack that quality up front, in my opinion. And I think you need to have a good attack to win Champions League in a sense. I think you need to be able to find the goals, and they really struggle with that because I think they didn't score against Shakhtar. They barely won against Porto in Portugal 1-0, and that was a very controversial game. So obviously maybe the return of Pedri kind of helps with that eventually, but I think with me, they struggle defensively. They concede a lot of chances. No Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I don't know how long he'll be out, but maybe if he picks someone under injury, then after that you're looking at Inaki Peña and goal. So I think for me they have quality, but they don't have quality at the same time. I think they just need a little bit more quality. Maybe, but never know, man. Okay, Gundogan, he can kind of provide that goal spark. He's known to be clutch in big games. He'll rise, like he did an example for El Clasico where he scored. So you never know with Barcelona, but I think they do need a little bit more quality. Maybe in January they go sign someone, but for me, when I look at prospective group winners, I'm like, meh. As for the other game, Shakhtar beat Antwerp 1-0, which sets up a Shakhtar-Porto matchup in Portugal. Porto, kind of similar to Atletico, need a win or a draw, and they finish second. If Shakhtar win, they finish second, and they progress to round of 16, which would be massive for Shakhtar. They beat Antwerp 1-0. A big win for them. Antwerp, they've kind of like messed it all up in this group stage. They've had plenty of opportunities. They fought well, but they made a lot of mistakes, which kind of makes sense for a first. I think this is the first time in the Champions League in a minute, and it kind of showed their experience wasn't there. So as for Shakhtar, obviously coming off that win against Barcelona and a home win against Barcelona, even though it was in Germany, they had that confidence and then followed it against Antwerp, and now they're one win away against Porto from going around 16, which would be massive for Shakhtar. Otherwise, they go to Europa League, where they can also cause trouble, as they've shown that they can compete with like the likes of Barcelona. They gave them a tough fight both times they played against Porto first leg. They fought well, so we'll see, man. But yeah, that's kind of what the group looks like now. Barca top the group, easy settings. Now it's Porto, Shakhtar fighting each other for that second spot. The loser goes to Europa League. So yeah. Let me know about what you guys think in the comments. We'll finish second between Shakhtar and Porto. That'll be an interesting matchup. Now, obviously, the last group, Group F, the group of death, the most important group in this, honestly, in this UCL, the most entertaining group so far in this Champions League, potentially. AC Milan, Dortmund, PSG, Newcastle. I'm gonna start with AC Milan, Dortmund. I had that game on the big screen with PSG, Newcastle, the dual monitors, the settings. Milan had a penalty in the 6th minute. Olivier Giroud missed it, and that set the tone for the game because Dortmund will get a penalty 5 minutes later, and Marco Reus scored his penalty, so that already put him 1-0. Samuel Chukwueze, one of their summer signings from Milan from Villarreal. Big goal, 30th minute. That was probably his first really big moment for Milan where he stepped up, and he kind of showed the potential of why Milan signed him. But after that, Milan didn't take the chances. A lot of injuries, and Dortmund scored. And after that, Dortmund scored again. And for Dortmund, person scored the second goal, JBG, Bino Gittins, someone I watched in the Youth Cup, UEFA Youth League about a couple years ago. He played against Man United. The dude was moving like Dino, and he scored the winner. And Dortmund, they've been okay in Bundesliga. They haven't been the strongest. They haven't lost that many matches, but they haven't been strong. But in this UCL group, a team that I predicted them to finish last. I think most people predicted them to finish last when they saw the group. They are, as of right now, are first place, and their last match against PSG in Germany, in a place that they don't really like to lose in Champions League. So they have a realistic chance of winning this group. Only PSG's away struggles. And if Dortmund top this group, I'm like, wow. And the one person I have to really big up for me is Mats Hummels. he's rolled back the tape on this in this UCL campaign. He's been absolutely flawless in every game, maybe apart PSG away. He was flawless against Milan in Germany. He was flawless in both games against Newcastle, and he was absolutely flawless in San Siro on Tuesday night. Absolute fantastic center back, old timer. And he's rolled back the years. Like if we give awards for best center back in the campaign right now so far, I'd honestly give it to Matt Hummels. He's been that fantastic. And Dortmund, they've taken their chances. They haven't been like some elite team tactical, like whoa, revolutionary, but they've shown their UCL experience as they've been in Champions League every year. They obviously lost Jude Bellingham in the summer, which is a big loss, but they didn't really replace him like for like. But you have the likes of Adeyemi who stepped up. You've had Malin who stepped up. You've had Fulkuruk who stepped up. And now you had Bino Gittins who stepped up, a young attacker. And that's what it goes for Dortmund. Next man steps up. That's been their kind of team in the last decade in a sense. When they lose a player, someone else steps up to kind of carry the team. When Haaland left, Jude took the mantle. When Sancho left, Haaland took the mantle in that kind of sense. That's what Dortmund looks like. And it's what it's been like this year, man. It's kind of been like a well-oiled machine in a sense. As for Milan, they're last place, I believe, right now. They have to go away to St. James Park for the last round, for the last match today. Honestly, I don't trust Milan to get a point there. So it might be like for them, they're eliminated from UCL completely, which would be for the second time in 3 years. And coming off a UCL semifinal appearance last year, that'd be really disappointing for them. They obviously didn't have Rafael Leao for this game, which always hurts. They've had a lot of injuries. Krunic ended up playing center back in the second half. So I kind of feel bad for them in a sense, but they also kind of coughed it up in the first 2 games where they didn't score a goal. And in the PSG game when in Paris, they had a couple of chances in the first half. They just didn't take the chances. And when you don't take your chances in Champions League, you get punished. And that's what ended up happening with Milan. So they should be disappointed. But for Dortmund, job done really well. I have to honestly applaud them. And when we look at teams with the group stages, when you look at it pound for pound, the opponents they played, it'd have to be Dortmund, most impressive team. Even though they haven't really done like something really, really special, they just get the job done efficiency. The other game, PSG Newcastle, the game that was marred by controversy in the end. But before we get to that part, we're gonna talk about the first half. And my main takeaway from that first half was the impressive performance of Tino Livramento. When Newcastle signed for Southampton from about 30 mil, I think. Livramento tore his ACL a couple years ago, about 18 months ago. Went back, recovered it, came back to Southampton last year, had a couple of nice last couple of months, and then Newcastle signed him big time in the summer. He really didn't start for Newcastle because you had the likes of Kieran Trippier in the right back position, where Livermento's main position is, and on left back, where he can also play, you have Dan Burn, who's one of the veterans in Newcastle. He's currently injured right now, and Livramento has grabbed that spot, and I don't think he's giving it back. He was absolutely amazing for that first goal, where he carried the ball pretty much almost half the pitch, went sideways with it, laid it off, Almiron shot, and Gianluigi Donnarumma might be the most overrated keeper in the world. Even though I don't think that many people even rate him anymore. Ever since that Euros, where he won, I think he won Player of the Tournament. I'm pretty sure he won Player of the Tournament, and got him into like top 10 of Ballon d'Or, shit like that. He's been absolutely horrific, man. He has looked like if it wasn't for a certain goalkeeper at Man United, Donnarumma would be the second worst goalkeeper because the way that he fumbles the ball, the way he spilled it into the path of Isaac, for me, is absolutely embarrassing. One second, my camera. There we go. Camera's fixed. The way he spilled it into Isaac's path, good poaching instincts by Isaac, but absolutely embarrassing by Donnarumma. And then PSG second half absolutely destroyed Newcastle. They created chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. The Newcastle defended excellent, and for me, I have to give props to that. As a Greek person, as a Greek man that watched that Greece 2004 Euro like 500 times, I love defensive master classes, and that's what Newcastle had in a sense where they were not allowing that ball, last-ditch tackles, all that kind of stuff. You have to respect it. But eventually, the other team's going to get that one last chance, and it was a penalty. Was it a penalty? No. But UEFA had this weird handball rule, which apparently, according to UEFA, wasn't even meant to be a handball because it actually touched the body part first before it touched the arm. But in a sense, Newcastle can hold that because that happened to United last year. So tough luck. Mbappe converts a penalty. Newcastle, for me, at the end, a draw is a fair result because of the amount of chances that PSG had. But if you're a Newcastle fan, you're obviously heartbroken because a win in that kind of stage would have been so massive because that would have put them on 7 points, second in the group, the fate is in their own hands now because they would just have to beat. They would have to only draw against Milan in St. James Park to qualify because they would have the advantage, head-to-head advantage on PSG. But that did not end up happening. They still do have the advantage in a sense. If PSG draw in Dortmund and Newcastle win, they would have the advantage still. But now you need another team to get a result for you instead of just having your fate in your own hands, and you never want that. In match day 6 of UCL, you want to have your fate in your own hands. But Newcastle weren't able to do that, and now it's tough. But I think Newcastle can hopefully, obviously, try to fight for Europa. Just make sure that they secure that. Maybe they don't want to though because that could hurt their Premier League scheduling because now you have to play Thursday, Sunday. But they should probably first UCL campaign in about 20 years. They should hold their heads up high because they fought really well in pretty much every game. The one game they're gonna look back to that really killed them was the Dortmund loss at home. That's the game that they really had to get 3 points or at least a draw in. But losing to Dortmund at St. James Park was not in the books for that. I don't think they expected that. I thought everyone, including myself, I didn't think Dortmund had a chance in that atmosphere, but they did, man. And that's the one game back. If Newcastle finished 3rd or 4th, they're gonna look back like, damn, that's the game we should have won. So experience, though, that's what we talk about Champions League. It's all about experience. It's about knowing the small things. The small things win you a lot of matches in Champions League, and Dortmund knew that the best in this group. That's what they've done. That's why they have 10 points and no one else does. As for PSG, frustrating attacking wise, Mbappe, Coleman kind of stunk it up. But PSG created 9 big chances. When you create 9 big chances, you have to win the match. I don't understand how you don't win the match, and that's just embarrassing in that sense. But they just attacked second half. But a draw, which means now they have to go to Dortmund and get a win pretty much. It's still basically kind of a draw. If Newcastle win, a draw doesn't help them, so they need to win. They beat Dortmund in the first leg, but I think Dortmund are much better since then because they've gotten a point every single UCL match since then. And also PSG away, they got slapped up in St. James Park. They deservedly lost in San Siro, which means the PSG fans trust PSG to go away? I personally don't, so we'll see about that. But yeah, so basically the last match day for that group, the implications are Dortmund already qualified. They need a point to top the group. If PSG win, they top the group. If Newcastle win and PSG draw or lose, Newcastle advance. Milan, I believe, would need Dortmund to win and Milan to lose. Milan need to win and Dortmund need to win. That's the only way they could advance. So every team still has a chance, which is always fun. Moving on to Wednesday now. We're not going to talk about that game that happened at 12:45 in Turkey, but we will talk about the game that happened at 12:45 in Spain. Sevilla 2, PSV Eindhoven 3. Sevilla blew a 2-0 lead, which is clipped for them. They're now 4th in the group, and they would need to beat Lens convincingly, I think, because they would need to beat Lens in the last match day to qualify past the group. To qualify for the Europa League spot, which I'm sure they actually really hope for because if they get to Europa League, you never know. We'll know what happens. Sevilla will make it to the final at least. But yeah, Sevilla blew a 2-0 lead. Sergio Ramos on the score sheet. UCL Ramos, we all love that. Ivan Rakitic assisted them, which is kind of a great sight in a sense. Ex-Barcelona man, ex-Real Madrid man, and Sevilla link up for a goal. That's kind of ironic. Nice storybook right there. And on the end of the series, scored the second goal. But PSV, since that, scored 3 goals. And Ricardo Pepi, the American, scored the winner. Big result for PSV because that put them second in the group after Lens got slapped up by Arsenal, which we'll talk about soon. And yeah, man, massive result for PSV. I think for me now, they have to play Arsenal at home the last match day, and then we look at what PSV did against Lens because I kind of forgot. They beat Lens. Yeah, they have the advantage over Lens, so they just need to. I think they're done. I think they're good. Yeah, that pretty much qualifies them then. Since they have the advantage over Lens, since they have the head-to-head. So that's pretty much it for the top 2, Arsenal, PSV. So that was massive for PSV. Ricardo Pepi, Saibari scored as well. When I look at their lineup, it's a fun team though. I think in terms of what damage they can cause, yeah, Bakayoko in attack, who I think is a really good young winger. Yeah, we like Luke De Jong, Chucky Lozano. Man, that's really iffy. I don't know, man. They're undefeated in Eredivisie, so they're a really good team in that sense. Couple good young players, but I don't know. I don't think it can really cause damage in the second leg because they look horrible. They looked horrible against Arsenal in England, so maybe they can cause some damage. But for me, I think for them, I think they're gonna win Eredivisie. I think that should be a successful season for them. I think round of 16, obviously when they get there, that'll be their cap in a sense. They won't go further past that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that match. Arsenal wins 6-0. Arsenal. The way let's recap the game. The big question about Arsenal now is how far can this team go in this competition? For me, I think originally I said quarterfinals. I think this team can go at least semifinals. When you look at their defense, they have the best defensive record in the Premier League. In this competition, I think they've only conceded 3 goals so far. Let me check real quick again for you guys. 3 goals, 2 against Lens, 1 against Sevilla, away from home. They held the clean sheet against They held clean sheets at home each match, and we'll see what happens at PSV, of course. But they look so defensively solid. Their attack looks much better in Champions League. They had scored 9 goals in their first 4 games, which is about 2.2 a game, and they scored 6 against Lens. The thing with Arsenal is, if you don't play a low block against them, they'll cook you, more than likely. Unless you obviously have some good defenders. But for me, I just think the way you look at their lineup, like you have the quality in defense with Saliba and Gabriel, arguably best center back partnership in the Premier League, probably top 5 in the world. You have your likes of, and usually you go Tomiyasu at right back, who's much more defensively solid than Ben White when you go up against top wingers. You start using Zinchenko, who inverts. Midfield, you have Declan Rice, who I think whose game can translate in every competition, in my opinion, because he's such a well-round built player. And the attack, you have Gabriel Jesus, who's electric. You have your Bukayo Saka and you have your Martinelli. It's a really fluid front 3 for me that can cause damage in the Champions League, obviously. But it would require Gabriel Jesus, though, when it comes to the tough stages. He needs to step up and score the goal. Will he do that? That's my main question. Because if he does do that, I think this team can easily make semifinals. And if it doesn't come up against Man City in the semifinal, it could make the finals. I think with Arsenal, I think they should be in the top 4 favorites. But let's see if they come up against Atletico Madrid and Simeone sets up that nasty low block. Arsenal would have issues because we've seen in the Premier League they struggled against low blocks. Against the likes of Porto, Atletico Madrid that know how to play that nasty brand of football in a sense, which might not be it's not nasty in terms of like winning, but it could be ugly to watch, but it's effective. I think those are the kind of teams that can give Arsenal trouble. So for me, it's matchup dependent for Arsenal, but they look like they can beat pretty much every team. And even with City, they've beaten City so far in the Premier League this season. But obviously, a City in the Champions League come April will be much different. Kevin De Bruyne will be back by then, and we all know how much he loves to cause Arsenal pain. So you never know. Back to Group A because I skipped Group A. Forgetting that team again that played in Turkey. Bayern Munich, Copenhagen 0-0. Bayern Munich already qualified, won the group, everything mad easy. The easiest group win for them that they'll ever see. Copenhagen, though, by drawing that game, put him at 5 points. Put him in second place because he have a better goal difference in Galatasaray. The last match in this group is Copenhagen versus Galatasaray. So in terms of this match, what happened? I think Bayern Munich obviously didn't play their full starting 11. Goretzka was at center back. Copenhagen played decent though. Bayern almost had a late pen. Didn't happen. But for Copenhagen, I think for me so far, if you really looked at who played the best football, you could say Copenhagen. That's the best credit I'll give them. And I think they're a tough team even in the round 16, unless they come up against Man City, who I think will wipe the floor with them. Other teams that aren't as technically efficient and lead gas in defense, I think Copenhagen can abuse that. And I think they look good in every single match that they played. Galatasaray first game, they had a 2-0 lead. They got the red card, ruined them. Bayern Munich at home, Bayern Munich scored 2 late goals. Copenhagen had them on the ropes. Old Trafford, when they went there, late pen saved by Onana to win the game for Man United. Other than that, Copenhagen played really well in that game. Copenhagen against Man United in Copenhagen. Man United probably should have won that game if Rashford didn't get a red card, but Copenhagen abused that. They scored 4 goals. So they're a good team, man. They're a good team. But in terms of group implications, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. If Copenhagen and Galatasaray tie and Man United win, Man United advance second place in the group. If Copenhagen beat Galatasaray, they advance past the group. If Copenhagen and Galatasaray is a draw and Man United do not beat Bayern Munich, Copenhagen advance. Galatasaray have to win. There's no other choice. If they don't win the match, they're out. As for Man United, like I just said, Man United have to be Bayern, and the other game has to end in a draw. That's the implications. It'll be really fun. It'll be a fun match day 6 for that group as well. Group C: Braga, Union Berlin, Real Madrid, Napoli. Braga pretty much secured themselves. Technically, no. Union Berlin obviously can't finish second, but Union Berlin can still finish in Europa League spot. But in terms of this match, Berlin scored first. Robin Goshen's really good, nice goal, really good pass by Ruscio on the underlap to Gosens. Braga were the better team in this match. They had the better chances. They scored the equalizer. Jalo, they had 10 men. But with Braga, that sets them up with a final match, I believe, against Napoli. If Braga win that match, I have to see by how many goals they would have to win it. They'd have to win like 3-0. Or like 2-0, I think. Yeah. Yeah, they'd have to win 2-0. They have to win 2-0 away in Naples to get past this group. Otherwise, if Union Berlin somehow beat Real Madrid and Braga lose to Napoli, Union Berlin finished third. Napoli just have to get a draw to advance past the group. Real Madrid already won the group. And Braga just need a draw to secure the third place spot for them. Yep. That's pretty much it. Real Madrid Napoli 4-2. Really fun, entertaining game. Napoli opened the scoring with Simeone goal off the line. But Rodrigo, beautiful goal. Jude Bellingham, beautiful goal. Again, the big question in this match is, for Real Madrid, how far can they go? We all know about Real Madrid. UCL Heritage, the Heritage Club. They look good attacking-wise, in a sense. Like, they have some... Obviously, Jude Bellingham was winning like Zidane yesterday. They have options like the winner that came from Nico Paz. You have Joselu who scored a goal, but he missed like 3-4 big chances. Vinicius didn't play. I think with Madrid, though, it's like I feel like they have too many injuries. Obviously, the Courtois injury is massive because you don't have a reliable goalkeeper, which I think is always, you need to have that in Champions League. Defensively, Militao's not there, but Alaba, Rudiger looked good. Mendy looked decent. He had a good pass. Carvajal is usually consistent. Midfield, you have a ton of options. You have, obviously, Camavinga and Tchouaméni being injured, but they should be back by the round of 16, which is good. You have Valverde, Cruz, Bellingham. Ceballos played Modric off the bench. You could have that option as well. Who Modric missed a game yesterday. Oh, he has an injury as well. I didn't know that, to be honest. That's kind of clipped. Yikes. Thankfully for Madrid, they already qualified past this group, so they don't have to really worry about that for the knockout stages. They'll have most of their guys back except Courtois and Militao. But when their full team is fit, when Camavinga and Tchouaméni come back, they have a lot of good depth. For me, it's the attacking, though. They don't have a recognized striker. If Jude is still in this fantastic goal scoring form come that time, then forget all about it. Because if he's on his goal scoring rate by then, he'll have like 35 goals in all competitions, which is a fantastic rate. But goal assists, he's been phenomenal. Maybe Josh Luke can have like a three game amazing run. But Raheem Diaz looked decent. Rodrigo has scored nice back-to-back goals. I think he scored against La Palmas on the weekend, and this game, that nice little top-bin finish that he had. They can be dangerous. I think they look good in transition. The thing with Madrid is you can never count them out in Champions League. Obviously, they've lost some veterans like the likes of Karim Benzema, but mostly all of these guys, when you look at the team, all these guys in the team have won the UCL except Bellingham. So they know what it takes to win the competition. Even Rudiger, who wasn't there for the game against Liverpool, he had won the Champions League the year prior with Chelsea. So they know how to win. They know how to win the competition, and that's when you know how to win the competition, you always have a shot. And the last group, Group D, Benfica, Inter, Real Sociedad, Salzburg. Benfica Inter was probably the most entertaining match in this match day, 3-3. John Mario hat trick in 2023 is absolutely crazy. Well, big up to John Mario for that. Inter rested a lot of players because for them this match didn't really matter. They had already qualified. It was all up against Sociedad. That match was always up for grabs. Both teams drew, which means again, I think they drew the first leg too. So it pretty much winner takes all in a sense. And yeah, man, Lautaro rested. Thuram rested. That's all they needed. Jan Sommer got rested. Defenders got rested. They had a lot of rest. Oh, actually, no, the defender's not going to rest. Barcelona's injured. Whoops. But yeah, I thought Benfica started really well. That's their first point in the campaign. Congratulations to Benfica for not going winless. I think that leaves Antwerp as the only team to not have a point in the group stages. I have to go check right now what that means. I'm going to go check. I think pretty much every other team has a point. Nope, Antwerp are though. I was right. Antwerp are the only team to ever have no points in the UCL this year. Everyone else has a point. So Benfica got rid of that list. Benfica, probably the most disappointing UCL campaign from any team this season. I don't know if maybe they expected to finish like top 2 in the group because Sociedad have been a fantastic team this season. Inter have been one of the best teams in Europe, but they should have at least finished third, and they're not going to do that. And for me, that's the biggest disappointment. So we'll see what happens. They look good though. John had a good game. Antonio Silva got a red card, which kind of helped Inter get back into the game for real because he got the red card, I believe, 50th minute. No, way later. Whoa, I'm bugging out. 84th minute. It was already 3-3. Never mind. I lied. But yeah, big point for Inter though, in the sense that kind of just leads to winner takes all, and kind of their bench players got a couple good opportunities. Arnautovic scored a nice goal. Frattesi scored a nice goal. Alexis Sanchez scored a pen. So yeah. And the other game, Sociedad Salzburg 0-0. Sociedad had a nice couple chances. They also rested players because their front three wasn't always. I think Oyarzabal obviously was a starter. Chose not their usual strikers. Zakarian, not really their typical left winger. Midfield was pretty much strong with Mendes, Mendy. Defense was pretty much strong. So they benched a couple players, but they didn't at the same time. It was like half and half full strength. They're also loading up for that final match, which I believe is in Milan. Winner takes all in that group. In terms of if it's a draw, Sociedad win the group because they have the better goal difference. And yeah, or unless no, I think in UCL group tiebreaker, it's head to head, obviously. Then it's superior goal difference between the two teams. So if they draw, that'd be 0. But I think then it would be like who scored the more away goals in the match between the two. So if it was 1-1 in Sociedad in Spain, so if Sociedad scored more than 1 away goal in Milan and it's like 2-2, then Sociedad top the group. I think that's what that means. Either way, that means Sociedad advance anyway. So if it's a draw, because no matter what, that means they have a superior goal difference. So yeah, Sociedad just need to draw and they just top the group. Inter need to win to top the group. So it'll be interesting because I think both teams can cause a lot of trouble in the Champions League campaign. I think Inter have been a fantastic team. I think they're dominating in Serie A, and I think Simone Inzaghi is one of the best cup managers in Europe. So I wouldn't want to be any team to face that team in the round of 16, especially like even with Arsenal. Like I think Arsenal are a better team on paper than Inter Milan, but that kind of experience coming off a UCL final, those guys know what it takes to win knockout stages matches. The Arsenal team does not. You would not want to be a group winner to play Inter Milan. I don't think even City would want to see Inter Milan in the round of 16. As for Sociedad, I kind of the same feelings. I think technical level, they're absolutely amazing team. They know how to kick ball. Defensively, maybe they could be a little bit weak. They could be exposed, like kind of their lack of athleticism, but not a team I want to play with in the round of 16. So that's pretty much it. Not really the most in-depth analysis. Kind of went through all the games, a couple takeaways. I think it was an important match day, but it really was pretty much only one of the groups in a sense. And like Group F, I think the last match day will be much more in-depth. We'll talk about much more in-depth, more takeaways, because we can also kind of look at potential round of 16 matchups, stuff like that, because the draw will be right after. So a little bit more in-depth. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. I'm going to have to edit that UCL music that hit for like 2 seconds because I will get copyrighted otherwise. And yeah, make sure you guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys check the previous videos, live match reaction yesterday and the live reaction after Sunday against Everton. Upcoming for me, what's today, Thursday? So that basketball video that I've been promising will come out tomorrow. I promise. Big up the New York Knicks who are in the quarterfinals of the NBA FA Cup. That's what I'm going to call it. And Saturday, obviously, we have the game against Newcastle, so live match reaction after that. And then we'll see from there because you know I have like so many games coming up after that. So we'll get that. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts about the matches in the comments. Who you guys think will advance past the groups. What you want to see in match day 6. Maybe a potential guest. Who you guys can give me some recommendations. Who do you want to see in the next episode of European Nights Recap? Because I think the next one I might do after Europa League 2. Kind of combine the two. I might do that. It's a good idea. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. And that's pretty much it. Peace.